Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan, and this is the KingCast, the weekly podcast on all things Bethesda, where we take your questions and we cover all the news that Bethesda has done. And by the way, this week, there is no news. No, we got a little bit of news, but we're going to talk about Expeditions and the Pitt, and you're going to get my honest review of the Pitt today. Not only mine, but I've got a very special guest with me today, and he's going to give you his review of the Pitt as well. My very good friend Kane. Kane, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
Thank you for being on the KingCast. You've been on before, so you know how this works. We're going to give them some news, give them our opinions and talk, and of course we're going to take their questions and comments because this is a subscriber-driven podcast. Now, you've played the Pitt all the way back in the PTS. You've been playing it for a while, so you know a lot about it. We're going to talk a lot about it. By the way, I've been running a poll on the Pitt about whether you like it or not. I got a pretty good sample on that. I'm going to be going over that as well today. And we're just going to get into it, not only whether we like the Pitt or not, but whether y'all like the Pitt too. And I want to hear y'all's comments in the stream as well, if you've played it and if you liked it. Okay, over in the chat at the very top, it's pinned at the top, is Kane's link. So if you are not subscribed to Kane Valdir, did I pronounce it right?
You did.
Gaming, I got it right this time. Please click on his link and subscribe. It is the pinned comment. I'm going to put it one more time just for giggles in... Oh, man, never mind. I put something else in there. I'd already done it. But it is the pinned comment, so click on it, and y'all can go to his YouTube page and subscribe. Let me say hello to a couple people, and then we'll get started. Thomas, Seth, Nuka Jones, Rick Games Now. There's another YouTuber, and he says he's going to be watching us and listen closely and making sure we're being very honest today. Hey, Rick, what's going on? And there's the Dirty King's Corner, man. How's it going? I love that. He's always making jokes about when we were getting raided by the things that shouldn't come on the live chat. Renrad is here as well. Thank you all for being here today and spending a little bit of your Saturday here. Oh, there's Psycho as well. And Psycho always remembers me or reminds me. I see that beautiful crown by his name. If you would like to join the channel, you can. That is right there by the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed to me, go ahead and do that too, and you can join the channel, become a member of the King's Crew, and there's some special things. We're going to have some specialized streams and other things, so do that. Okay, let's jump right in it. One bit of news before we jump into the Pit. Kane, I did hear this week that Deathloop, the game that has been a Sony exclusive for a year, is finally coming to Xbox and Game Pass. It is coming September the 20th. Not only that, it is coming with special new content for you Xbox gamers. So that's something very cool. I love the game Deathloop. Did you play Deathloop, Kane?
I did, yes. It's an excellent game.
It is a very good game. It is coming with new weapons, new enemies, and a new extended ending just for Xbox. So you can be able to get that on Game Pass on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, September the 20th. So if you're on Xbox, there you go. You'll now be able to get Deathloop. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into it. Rick Game said, I enjoyed the Pit. I didn't enjoy dying 38 times. Did the trogs get you, Rick? Barry says the Pit had a Fallout 3 Lone Wanderer vibe when going solo. Loved it, but in a party, it had mission lockup issues. Yeah, I've heard that. I didn't have that problem. I've done it. I've only done it alone, so I haven't done it with. No, actually, forgive me. I did it in a live stream with a full group, so we didn't have that problem. But a few things let me lay out there, and then I'm gonna get Kane's opinion on these. But let me give y'all some facts about the Pit. As y'all know, there are two main missions on the Pit, but the really cool thing of how they put these together you have the Union Dews, and then you have Ashes to Fire. But every time you play them, they're a little bit different, Kane, because they rotate. You have, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 4 objectives every time you go into one of these expeditions. Right. And 3 of the 4 objectives are on a rotating basis. In other words, they're random. So you may do Ashes of Fire every time, but it's going to be different every time you do it. So I think that's very cool.
Yeah, that's what makes it a unique experience.
Yeah, not only can you earn different things, you'll actually have to do different missions each time you go on, like I say, the same mission. You can do Ashes of Fire 3 different times, and it'll be 3 different missions. So I think that makes it great replayability. They did great with that. Back me up if I'm doing this right, Kane. I think this is right. When you're going into the missions, you'll have one exterior objective. In other words, outside of the once you talk to the person inside Pittsburgh, you'll have one objective that is outside either the cathedral and catacombs or the, what is it called, the foundry in Union Dews. And then on the inside, you have 2 objectives, and then you'll come back out and you'll have one more. So that's 4 in total. Plus, there are 2 extra optional objectives that you have. With all of that complete, you have a possibility of earning 10 stamps. Now, stamps are the new currency that you can earn new rewards that are unique to the Pit. And there, of course, there is a vendor at the White Springs where you use these stamps. Yeah. And I believe, back me up on this as well, Kane, if you're not the leader of the group, you can still earn stamps, but you earn a little bit less. I think if you do everything, you get like 8 stamps instead of 10. Is that right?
If you don't complete all the optional ones, you get less stamps. So I think it is 8.
Yeah. So it's really cool, and by the way, they've got some really neat things as well. Giuseppe has some really cool things. Most of his stuff is either 85 stamps or like 150 stamps is what most of them are. So, but the real cool thing is every time you do a mission, you get one of those things, a random rare item. You earn it without having to buy it. So that's another cool thing every time you do a mission. Okay, with all that said, right now, Kane, I want your just overall impression of the Pit.
Okay. Overall impression, it is fun. It's a fun, thing to do. It's a fun experience. That said, it still feels like daily ops to me. And I love daily ops, so I still love this, but it still feels that way. It's nice that you're going to a different place to do it, and you don't have a time limit, but it's still basically that daily ops feel. You've got the daily things that you got to do. There's more to it, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's the same basic system.
Psycho says the same thing. It seems like 2 versions of daily ops in a new location with added steps at the beginning. So he says the same thing that you're saying. I've been telling y'all the whole time it is very daily opsy, and I know that's not a word, but that was how I used it. Now I do like it better than daily ops, but it does have a daily ops feel. I think it's a good mixture of quest and daily ops, but that leads me to the poll that I did, and I just want to give y'all the poll, and then I'm going to read some of y'all's comments. The poll that I gave on Twitter last night, I wish I would have ran it a little bit longer. I would have got more votes, but I got 153 votes, so that's a pretty good base. And I just asked the basic question: do you love it? Do you think it's okay? Do you hate it? Or have you not played it yet? Overwhelmingly, the answer was it's okay. 43% of you said the Pit was okay. 23% said they loved it. So that was a pretty good percentage that said they loved it. Only 3% said they hated it. I thought that's great. Hey, that's wonderful. There's no hate then of the Pit. And then there's still 31% that haven't played it as well. Now, there were a lot of comments as well in my poll, and I want to read these off. I'm not going to read the comments, but there were two overwhelming themes to the comments. One was y'all hated the things you had to do to get the batteries in the White Spring. So I'm going to ask Kane, what do you think about having to do the 3 daily quests to get your batteries? Is it too mundane? Is it too repetitive? What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I don't understand why people are complaining about those because they are very easy to do.
They are easy.
They're super easy. The only one that's kind of difficult is the cooking one, and that's just a timing thing. You just got to be on top of what you're doing in certain order. That's really it. Everything else is just gather a few things which you can easily get from your stash box. If you've been playing a long time like me, you've probably got a lot of stuff that's stashed
Yes.
away. But for the most part, it's usually only 50 of something, whatever that something is, and that's easy to get. You can get that. In fact, you could just go out of the refuge and go down into the White Spring and purchase the stuff if it comes right down to it.
True. Yeah,
So,
one of them is give 50 whatever it is. The first one is cloth. The second one I think is rubber. Well, it don't matter. It changes
it's
every
usually
time.
something. Changes every time.
The second quest or one of the other quests, you actually have to go to a location and pick something up, pick up medical supplies. And then the third one, of course, is always going to be the cooking. My thought.
And that one,
Go ahead.
that one, real quick, I do want to touch on that middle one.
Yeah.
The one where you have to go fetch something.
The fetch quest, yes.
If you're like me and a lore junkie, there's always a little bit of lore with it as well.
Yes.
So it's not just going and getting it. There's actually some backstory to it. So I like that.
True. And that was one thing I was going to say about these 3 quests. If they're going to do something where you have to get or do something for your batteries, make it something more about the responders. Let me learn more about the responders. That would be my wish or my request to Bethesda. Don't just make it fetch quest. Don't just make it me cooking every time. I mean, that's not hard, but if I have to cook chili or whatever it is every single time, that is going to get old. I don't mind doing it if it's randomized, every once in a while. But I do wish they would add some different things and add some things where you learn more about the responders. That's what I would like. Learn more about what's going on at the White Spring. Another thing I have to say, I said it in the live stream, I'm going to get Kane's opinion. I've gotten a lot of y'all's that were on the live stream. I do not believe the White Spring is the right place to have the responders. I just don't think it is. And I'm going to give my opinion, Kane, if you don't mind, before I turn it over to you. Number one, the White Spring belongs to the Enclave, period. If you're ever going to have something with the Enclave, it's going to be at the White Spring. But the last headquarters of the responders was the Morgantown, where? Airport. And what are we doing? We're flying to Pittsburgh. So where would be a perfect place for the responders to take back up as a headquarters? Now, I know why Bethesda didn't, because the early part of the story, you still have to go to Morgantown, but they still could have done it. It would have just taken a little bit more work, let the game evolve, and let the responders take back over their old headquarters at Morgantown Airport. That makes so much more sense than ruining the White Spring, in my opinion. Kane, what do you think?
I mean, I agree. I didn't really care for the location of choice. I get why they did it though. It's really realistically, it's the only location that's central to the map. I mean, it's literally right smack in the middle of the map. It just makes sense to have it centrally located for all players.
Yeah.
So you're not having to travel here, there, and everywhere. It's right there. Because some people like me don't fast travel.
Yeah.
So
Flatwoods. There's another good example to use. They've already set up a outpost, if you will, at Flatwoods. There's another good place. They had nothing at the White Spring, so just a thought. Okay, let me back up and read some of these. Again, what I was thinking about those, the things you have to do with the batteries, I don't dislike them near as much as other people. I don't think they're bad. I just wish they would add more lore about the responders, and then add some more things that you had to do so I don't have to cook every time. Make it some random things. That's my opinion in those. Okay, let's see where I was. Barry says the pit. Oh, I read that. I gotta skip ahead. Hey, Sarge, what's going on? The pit is where you go to burn through ammo. Sarge says the worst part of the pit is the malarkey you have to go through just to charge up the batteries. That's what we're talking about. Let's see. Keep stirring the stew, Sarge. Oh. Demir says, haven't played that much of the pit, but to me the area feels less alive or lived in, even compared to pre-Wastelander 76. Sarge says, I haven't played the pit, but never really enjoyed daily ops. Now, with us saying it's like daily ops, it's much better than daily ops. Okay?
it is 100%.
So don't let that keep you from playing the pit. It is much, much better. It just has a daily ops feel, but without the time, and with it being much, much bigger, and with some lore added to it, it's so much better than daily ops. So please don't let that keep you from playing it. Hey Garrett, what's going on? Barry says the amount of fixes that came with this update to me shows that Bethesda is still very much vested in making this game better. I agree. Garrett says, I have high hopes for next year as far as a lot of good story content goes. But as of right now, I just want Starfield to release. How do you pronounce that? Ruzka?
Ruska.
Ruzka. I enjoyed the quality of life changes that came with the pit, buying 100 modules, having the ability to travel to interiors or exteriors. That is cool. I liked a simple little thing where they switched the recipes and the plans where known ones don't come at the top, but now you've got the ones that you don't know that start at the top. I think that's great. I don't know if y'all have noticed that, but I love that. Hey, Jeremy, what's going on? Should give new cooking recipes since you have to cook. I agree. I like that. That is a good idea. Psycho says the White Spring needs to be how it was. Just keep the new stash and legendary machine, plus Morgantown could have been a new hub city. I agree. Hey, Cirque, what's going on? Garrick says, I don't mind grinding. I just think that having no real story or lore is a mistake. We have been begging for it since Wastelanders. I agree. Psycho says, I prefer an open air map to dungeon crawls. I agree. Okay.
So let me just address the Morgantown part of this. I can honestly
absolutely.
say that I can tell you the reason why they didn't do that, because the original main story takes you through the Morgantown airport and all that. So they don't want to mess that up.
Yep.
Because if they do anything there, that just messes up that whole story and that whole storyline. So you really can't touch that. If you go into Morgantown, there's all kinds of things that already happen there. There's a lot of daily, there's a lot of not daily, but it's around. You're interfering with a lot of stuff that's already happening in that area. So I get why they didn't do anything there. That makes perfect sense to me. Again, White Spring was really the only place that they could have actually gone. And if you talk to the people there, there's one person in particular who stands out. I'm not going to ruin any story content for you right now, but that there's a reason why they're at the White Spring, and the Enclave has a. I think they might be working toward a story there. So there's definitely some interesting things going on. So yeah, I think there's more coming.
Yeah.
So stay tuned on that one.
there is one character. There is another character that mentions that character, and then there is actually a computer that mentions that character. So,
Yes.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. My overall impression of the Pit, I'm very much like you. If I am in between, it's okay, and I really like it. To be very honest, I played it in the PTS, and it was okay in the PTS. But then when I got to playing it in the real game, I honestly liked it more. But probably the reason is I had not played Ashes to Fire in the PTS. I'd only played Union Dues. And Ashes to Fire has got some of the best game world. I don't know how you would word it, but they built the environment, the atmosphere and the environment that they built in Ashes to Fire is, I believe, the absolute best in the game. Now, that's my opinion. But
it is.
The
world
cathedral
building
and the catacombs. There are awesome Easter eggs in it. It's just amazing. And there is lore in it, by the way. There's lore and Easter eggs. It's just really, really cool.
There's a lot of real history there, too.
Yeah. I can honestly spend a lot of time down in the catacombs and that. I just thought that was really cool. I wish they would flesh that out. Me and Kane were talking about this before the podcast started, that I know they're going to add to the expeditions in the future, but I wonder if they're actually going to add to what we've already got. I would love to see them actually flesh out the catacombs and make them bigger, and I would love to see that, because I mean, that I could crawl around them dungeons all day. That was amazing. That was amazing stuff. The only thing that wasn't amazing was while the organ played, y'all know the organ, if you've played Ashes to Fire, you play the organ, the enemies come out. I actually got a copyright strike from Sony Music with the organ playing. Can you believe that?
Jeez.
I thought about trying to fight it, but I didn't. Oh well. Anyway, so my overall was I liked it better than I thought I was going to. I'm in between okay and really like it. Yes, I want story. Yes, I want more lore, but I understand why they're doing this. It's okay to me that they're trying this right now. I do wish they would add more lore to it, and I see that they can. They're going to add stuff on top of it. All they have to do is add more questy stuff to the how you get your batteries, add more lore there to the responder stuff, and then go in and add more lore and questy stuff to the actual missions in the expeditions. You can do that. I don't know if they're going to do that, Kane, but they could.
I think that they will. They've very clearly stated that they're going to add more to it. I don't know how much clearer they could have gotten about it,
but from what I understood, or what I guess I was thinking, and I guess when you assume, you get into dangerous territory there. When they said they were going to add to it, I'm assuming they're going to add new missions. That's what I was thinking, and in fact I think they've even said they're going to add new missions. So in other words, we've got Union Dues, we've got Ashes to Fire. They're going to add new missions, and we're going to go different places. So I know they're going to add stuff to the expedition. I don't even know the word.
I know what you're talking about. The expeditions.
To the pattern they've set down. Yeah, the system they've set down. But what they've actually got there, I don't know if they're going to add anything to it itself. And that's a shame.
I don't know if they'll add anything to what's already existing. I think they've made the decision that that's done already, which is why it's been released. But I do think that they will be adding new missions, which will take us to different areas of the pit as well, and obviously to other areas. Most likely, the next set of locations that we get is going to come in the form of a DC area.
Demir brings up something really good. He says, I would be impressed if we got a new expedition or new mission every 3 months, but I don't see that happening. how quick do you
Maybe.
think? Now I know we're getting Nuka World before we get an expedition, but how quick do you think we could get a new expedition? How if they start just putting these out, how quick do you think they could make one of these?
Well, it's my understanding that they're already working on the next
Yes,
expedition.
correct.
So most likely the first quarter of next year.
So it very well could be every 3 months. And
Yeah.
I've been saying that all along that every 3 months we should be getting something pretty major from Bethesda. That's how, again, ESO does it. That's how 76 should be doing it. Okay, did I miss anything? I would be very annoyed if 76 only gets events and one or two more expeditions over the next year. I think a future expedition, Garrett says, that follows more of a Far Harbor path would be amazing. Traveling around the country and even outside of the country and exploring new maps would be amazing. Jeremy says White Springs makes sense because the roof should have been set up for rooftop hello pad because of the enclave. Yes. Um, I had something really good to say and it just went right out of my mind. Bonewater says uh, uh, plans need to be cheaper and less of a grind. Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. Uh, but
Well,
but remember now, you get a rare plan every single time you do a mission. That's pretty grand. I do agree
and
with the stamps, but go
you get
ahead.
an extra one at the end of the week too.
Yeah,
An extra
that's right.
and at the end of the week. So honestly, the grind stuff, it is what it is. I mean, that's going to be a thing. Um,
Let me tell y'all again. Let me explain to y'all again, and I know y'all understand. But the reason they have to put a little grind in is because they want to people. They've got to have a hook to get people to come back. If not, you would only play 2 or 3 times and then put it down. And again, for a live stream game, for a live service game to work, they need people to keep playing, keep playing, keep playing. That's why they do that. Make sense? Isn't that right, Kane?
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it.
So
It's a live service
any
game.
live service game is going to be grindy. It's going to have a grind to it. Uh,
Yeah,
Flake says they've been pretty clear that new maps isn't really something they can technically accomplish in the framework of the game. I guess these instance dungeon style expos are the best they can do. Uh, oh, now I know what I was talking about. All the way back when we knew that this was before they actually announced the pit. So this was a long time ago. We actually got pictures that were leaked uh, from Washington D.C. from expeditions of Washington D.C. Do you remember that, Kane? There were like three pictures for expeditions of Washington D.C. that were already, I guess, pre-production. I guess they were pre-planning, if you will. So, and of course, we all know that Washington is going to be one of the places, but they actually those pictures leaked somehow of Washington, and that was all the way back before we actually knew about Pittsburgh. So uh, I would guess that would be already under. They would already be working on Washington, and it would probably be coming out early spring next year, as you say, first quarter of next year,
yeah, that's my guess.
which is exciting. We went back to Pittsburgh now, and then we're going to go back to Washington. That would be really, really cool. Garrett says, and if I come off as negative, I'm sorry. It's not my intent. It's just been so slow over the past year and a half, and it bummed me out so much. It has. It absolutely has. I honestly think if Expeditions had come out a year ago, I think they would have been a much more positively taken. I mean, we just went through a year that we didn't get much. Absolutely. Uh, okay. What else was I going to cover? So my overall opinion, my overall honest opinion, I do like it. I wished it had more lore. I think they can. I hope they can add that to it. I wish it had more choice in it. Uh, I don't know, but I love the choice. Uh, that's just something that to me that screams RPG. I love that about Obsidian games. I loved it in, of course, Fallout New Vegas. So I would love to see more choice come in them.
Yeah, yeah. I think honestly that's really what it comes right down to is more choice options. I mean, maybe you don't want to help the the Union. Maybe you want to help the Raiders.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, yeah. I think there should be options to say, you know what, screw you. I'm gonna go after these guys.
Do what you want when you want. That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see. Flake says I was part of the AMA, one of the few that got answered, and I still don't remember it. Garrett says, but I would definitely settle for more story in the map of West Virginia. I think everybody wants more story, wants more quest. I think that's a no-brainer. I know y'all are probably tired of me saying it. I think everybody's heard it, but I'm going to say it one more time just for those that might not have heard it. So everybody else, just hold your fingers in your ear for a minute. Again, in a live service game, the only reason they're not doing story stuff right now, the reason we're not going that direction, and they've said it, they've come right out and said it, is because the last time we had story content, I guess it was the Brotherhood of Steel, we had a lot of players come back to Fallout 76, but they didn't stay. They didn't stay long at all, and they were gone. And I'm supposing the higher-ups at Bethesda or Xbox or whoever had a meeting and said, we're going to have to do something different. We're going to have to do something that keeps the players there. So that's why they're trying something different at this point. What me and Kane were talking about, and I want to ask you guys this: do you think that the expeditions are going to keep people around longer than story content would? That's a very good question. I wonder that. I really do. And I'm not too sure. I still think a casual player is going to do the same thing. They're going to play it a few times and be gone.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to look at it from the from the other side of that coin too. The expeditions is repeatable content. You can do it as many times as you want with friends or whatever. So honestly, I don't think that is going to prevent more players to play more often.
Absolutely.
You know, the
Something that is.
unfortunate part,
Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say the unfortunate part about the story stuff is that if you put out story, you yeah, you're appeasing a small portion of the audience. But at the same time, you've got so many players that will just literally run through the story and then that's it. They're done.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, you need players. And this is the only way we're going to get it.
Well, I would tweak just a little bit of what you said. I think a majority of us want story, but I think there is a big portion of players that, like you said, will run through it and quit playing. They won't come back for anything else. They just run through it and then they're gone.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So they're trying to find something to keep people in the game. And guys, you can put it this way: if the game's going to survive, they're going to have to find something that keeps the players here. Of course, I would argue that, well, then make a story every 3 months, but I guess they can't do that. I guess that's too much to do.
I wish they would.
I wish they would, yeah. Flake says one of the big issues with player retention is 76 is that there aren't any player-driven gameplay systems other than camp building. Everything else is finite story content. No RP, no PvP, no raiding. Big question here. We don't have to get into this much, but it seems kind of funny to me if they want people to keep coming back and back and back. I wonder why they took away Nuclear Winter. It seems like that was very popular for a while. I don't know if it dwindled so much. I really wonder why they took that away.
They didn't really have the people to dedicate to it. That's really what it comes right down to. In order for them to put together story content, they need people. And at the end of the day, they have a very small crew. the only way that they could support nuclear winter is if they had two separate teams
Two
working
separate teams. Yep.
on it. One working on that, one working on story content, and in the upkeep on the nuclear winter side of things, trying to get rid of hackers and all that. That was just a nightmare altogether.
I was about to say, was that really the bottom line? Was it the hackers they were never going to be able to get rid of?
I don't think it was the bottom line, but I think it was, it was the bottom line at the end of the day was the lack of people.
Now, I agree, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, you could have one person, you could actually come out and tell the Fallout community, hey, we don't have the people, you want nuclear winter, fine. We don't have the people to build anything new, but y'all can have it. We're just going to maintain it. But see, with that, there's as you were saying, there's nothing they could do about the hackers, and the hackers were just getting worse and worse and worse, and that was one reason I didn't play in Nuclear Winter.
I played it near the end, and honestly, the vast majority of players were either bots or people that were just doing nothing.
Oh wow!
It would literally just stand there, and you go through and kill them. So there was a handful of players that were actually playing it, but I mean, realistically, there just wasn't a large enough audience that was actually actively involved with it, and that's because they weren't able to expand it like they really wanted to. They wanted to expand it into different areas, have different maps that you could play on. They just couldn't do that because they don't have the staff.
Mr. Lewis is asking one of us if we were at Comic-Con. I was not at Comic-Con. I'm not sure about
No, I wasn't
Kane.
either.
Yeah, I don't think so. Cirque says, I love the look and feel of the pit. Aesthetically, they did great. Again, I'm going to say, the look of it, the world of Ashes and Fire is the best they've made. It's the best in the game, in my opinion. I love it. Flake says, I would assume they were paying for separate servers for Nuclear Winter, and the playtime wasn't justifying those extra server costs. Yep, I mean, I agree, and I agree definitely with what Kane's saying. They didn't have the people, and I mean, this is going to get into some old things that were going on. We know something was happening with COVID and all that other stuff. They went through a really big drought and some internal things that went on, which is why we had a year full of nothing, basically. So we probably will never know the full story of what all went on, but they got real behind in their content. Sarge says, I never played Nuclear Winter, but I didn't realize how popular it was till they took it away. It was very popular. In fact, when it first came out, it really revived Fallout 76. It sure did. I don't know if they could figure out how to take the hackers away or not, but I think that's one thing they just decided. No, we're gonna scrap. It's something that we can't deal with. One thing you've got to understand about, and I've said this a long time ago, one thing you've got to understand about Fallout 76 and Bethesda for years, since the beginning of their games, they have always made their games to be accessible by the fans. And in fact, they've always made them to be easy to be accessed by fans. Go all the way back to Morrowind, and even before that, they've always made them. I mean, you look at the modding communities. The modding community for Morrowind is still going on. People are still playing Morrowind and modding that thing, which is crazy to me, but they are. So when you get to a live service game now, where you've got new type players that want a company to keep people out of your game. And remember, Bethesda's game and engines are always made to let people in. And people are used to getting into Bethesda games for years and years and years. So they know how to do it. It's... remember, this is Bethesda's first live service game. They've never dealt with this kind of stuff. They've always been in the business of letting people into their games. So I think they're kind of learning on the fly in some of these things and learning how hard and how serious some of these issues really are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Garrett says, even back in the days of Wild Appalachia, they made extremely good story content, and the mysteries with no NPCs. I would be happy with stuff like that too. Oh, I've said it. I would love for them to do another cryptid. In fact, if y'all have noticed, I've been posting the last week or so, new enemies they could introduce into Fallout 76, and they could do it in a line like they did with Wild Appalachia, like they did with the Sheep Squatch. I think that there are still cryptids in West Virginia that they could add. And I loved the Sheep Squatch quest line. I think that is one of the best DLCs or content add-ons, whatever you want to call it, that we have had added to. In my opinion, again, one of the most fun that we've had. I enjoyed it so very much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they still can explore on.
It was such a unique way, though, to add a new enemy. It was added in such a lore-friendly, neat way with a twist, with the fake sheep squatch. That was just so neat.
Yeah.
So neat. With not only a full main quest line, but a bunch of side quests branching off of it as well.
That one's really kind of a hidden quest too, really.
It is. Why couldn't they do that with a Bigfoot quest line or and again, they don't have to go down the same route, but just something like that.
Right.
I like those better than the Brotherhood of Steel's. I didn't dislike the Brotherhood of Steel ones, but I really like those. If you had to twist my arm and say what was your favorite add-on content, now I loved Wastelanders, but I would have to say that the Sheep Squatch was my favorite. What was your favorite add-on since it started, Kane?
Since it started?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you're really putting me on.
I'm putting you on the spot
here. Honestly, I'm with you on that one. That was probably one of my favorite quests that was added in after the main game.
It was just so well written and so well done. I just thought it was so neat. Because, they added everything. Random encounters was added, so everything of the game changed. And it was changed for the one thing, and it was to add the sheep squatch. It was so, so neat. Let's see. Am I caught up now? Flake says the problem with learning on the fly, what I was just saying, is that they do have several other wildly successful MMOs they can... And that's very true, Flakes, but remember, Fallout 76 is done completely different than ESO. Not only is it completely different engine and everything like that, it's a completely different model, too. It's a free-based model that they get their money off of the Atomic Shop and Fallout First, where ESO is a paid model. So totally different. Yep. Totally different. I think they've probably learned that the free model doesn't work as well. I hate that, but it's true.
It is true.
Yeah. Henry says the Pitt River monster as a boss fight. Ooh, that sounds really good. Don't know what it is, but it sounds good. Rick Games Now says, I've had enough BOS for a lifetime. I want more Enclave. Amen. Yeah.
Hey, Rick, you're gonna get some more of that. I can guarantee you.
I think so. I'm with.
Just hang tight.
I'm with Kane. I think there is a very sneaky thing that y'all need to look around just look around the responders and talk to people and read some of the computers, and you'll find out. Cirque says imposter sheep squatch. Then you find in the woods actual sheep squatch exists. That was cool. Absolutely. Jeremy says no hinting just one day, boom, Bigfoot tearing down your house. Garrett says, I know the naysayers who don't even play will come and complain in droves, but I will be willing to pay 40 to 60 each year for long adventures like ESO. Yeah, I know. But they're caught in a pickle now because they have they will. I don't see a way they can ever do that because they've made a promise, they've made a commitment to the free model, and people would. I know you wouldn't, Garrett, but a lot of people would throw a fit if they tried to charge anything in Fallout 76 because what will people say? You said it's going to be free. Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, there's that too. But what I was going to point out here is the big difference between ESO and 76 is ESO doesn't have an end time frame. And I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but I noticed it during their last big AMA. They or not AMA, but the last big interview that they had. It made mention about the end of the game, that they already had things planned out for how the game is going to end. So 76 does have a time frame.
Do you think
what that time frame is? I don't know.
Do you think that's 5-ish years? Because remember, they had a 5-year plan, or is it a little bit more than 5 years?
It could be. It could be a little bit more, but I don't anticipate that it's going to go on much longer than that to be 100%. And I think the reason why is because one, it is difficult to maintain. I think they've learned a lot from this venture. They may have something else that they plan on doing at a later point. Maybe they have a Fallout 76 2, whatever that may be.
Gotcha.
That they might just come out with instead, and maybe that'll be better. Maybe it'll be on the new engine or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, they do have a time frame for 76 to be done. So I think that's what they're looking at, and I think honestly that's probably going to come around the same time that the 76 will end, around the same time that the next Fallout actually releases.
Fallout comes. And I was about to say, I think we're probably, as much as we all like 76, I think I'm good with that, because if Fallout 5 comes out, or if a Fallout spinoff, or whatever it may be, that whatever the next Fallout comes out, that's what I'm going to be playing the majority of if it comes out. If there's a brand new Fallout that comes out, as much as I like 76, I'm going to be playing the new Fallout, and I think most of you guys are too.
Yeah.
So what's that going to do to 76? It's going to pretty much kill it. And I think they know that. And if they're wanting, and this goes to your point, Kane, if they're wanting to do an eventual online Fallout game, which I could see them doing another online game, since, like you said, they've learned so much. It would make more sense to do it probably in line with the next Fallout game. Say Fallout 5 is in New York. My opinion would be release it about a year after the single player game comes out. Release the online game in New York, kind of like they did Red Dead Redemption. You got Red Dead Redemption, then Red Dead Redemption Online.
Right.
And it would be on the new engine, and then they've learned a lot. And they would probably do it as a paid model instead of the free model, and they would plan it where you'd get something new every 3 months or whatever it would be.
That's a very good shot of us going. If they're going to do another online version of Fallout, I think that's very, very well the way they would go.
I do too. Yeah. Jeremy says you have people returning and playing, trying to get the monster fight. Remember, by the way, y'all talking about main monster fights, we are going to have another true big boss fight very soon when Nuka World returns. In fact, the monster, the boss that's coming is going to be bigger than any boss that's ever been in the game. It's going to be bigger than Earl. It's going to be bigger than the Queen. This thing is huge. What is that thing called?
I don't remember what it's called, but
It's called the
it's
ultrasight something. I don't remember, but it's a big
yeah,
mole rat.
It's a big mole rat.
It is a big mole rat. Mr. Lewis says, how many of you currently play ESO? I play added. I play it occasionally. I could not say I'm a faithful player of ESO. I play it enough to know what's going on occasionally.
That's the same here.
Kentucky Ranger says Fallout 76 is just like every online video game. It won't last forever. Very true. Rick Games Now says I will be playing the new Fallout, but first I'll be transitioning to Starfield. I will too. Cirque says, and how many people are going to leave when Starfield releases, especially if it's really good? What I plan to do with Starfield, when Starfield comes out, let's say it comes out in March, and now remember, I've got a channel going where I've got some people on my channel that are not going to play Starfield. A lot of them are going to still be playing 76. So I'm going to keep covering 76, but the majority of my time is going to be in Starfield. So am I still going to play 76? Yes, but my playing is going to be cut in more than half. What about you, Kane?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's already where I was going with it too. I'm still gonna play 76. I'm still gonna do the daily stuff.
Will you be doing any 76 content, or will you be doing Starfield content on your YouTube?
I'll still be doing both. Honestly, I plan on doing more live streaming at that point with the with Starfield, and then doing my regular lore videos and whatnot. News videos if I'm for 76 and whatnot.
That is a great segue into, if you have not subscribed to Kane's YouTube channel, please do so right now. It is the pinned comment in the chat. You'll see it says today's guest is Kane Valdir Gaming, and it has the link to his YouTube channel. He has great content over there. He covers all things Fallout 76 in a great way, and y'all just need to go check his channel out. He does a wonderful job. So please do that and subscribe. You will not be sorry, I promise.
If you like history and
lore
and the lore of the game, then that's where to go. Absolutely.
Garrett says, I'm not opposed to them creating another online Fallout similar to this in the future, now that they know what not to do. Absolutely. I think they'll be able to do it better. Remember, Fallout 76 was going to be Fallout 4 online. They actually were going to make it part of Fallout 4. That was what it was originally. And Fallout 4 got too big for them, so they said, well, we're not going to do, we'll wait on that, and it turned into Fallout 76. So it's kind of interesting. With that, that's why I think it will probably be linked to the next Fallout next time. They won't put them out at the same time because Todd Howard has already said that's too big. But it will be linked to it. Garrett says, as it stands now, and by the way, if I skip your comment, please don't think I'm doing it on purpose. Type it back in. There's a lot of people talking and I miss them. Big Mama Mole Rat. That's the name of it. How'd you know? Garrett says, as it stands now, though, I think getting another few studios and split up the work from story, multiplayer, they've got to get more people. You're exactly right. They've got to get more people. I do know this. I do know ZeniMax Online Studio has more people than Austin does. There's no doubt. Honestly, Austin is the shell of what it was when it started. It got shelled or holed out several times. What happened was, the closer that Starfield got, people started being pulled off of Austin to help on Starfield. And they couldn't, of course, take everybody because Fallout 76 still needed some work, but they would take people here or there. And then COVID happened, and then the whole Jeff Gardner and all that thing happened, and literally it is a shell of what it once was. It is much smaller than what it once was. So now we literally have two other studios, and I've looked into those other two studios. They're not very big, Kane. And right now I've gone blank. What are the names of the other two studios that are helping?
Double 11, and
Thank you.
The other one starts with an S, and I can't remember the name of it.
Something Soft or Sarasoft?
Spearsoft.
Yeah, thank
Spearsoft.
They are much smaller than a normal Bethesda studio, so they're very small, under 100 anyway. The people that are working on the future of Fallout 76, I said all that to say, is still a very small amount of people.
I think ZeniMax Online has quadrupled the number of people working on that game alone.
Yes.
Than what 76
does. Yeah, just think about what Kane just said. Cirque says the new boss is the Ultrasight Bullet Eater. That's its name. I love that.
It probably will be a bullet sponge.
Absolutely. Let's see. Demir says Starfield for me, sci-fi fan at heart. I can't wait for Starfield. I can't wait to start talking about Starfield more. Mr. Lewis says, once I got through. By the way, we're getting closer. We're getting very close to the end. Y'all talk about anything you want to. Throw some questions at me or Kane. Kane, you throw some questions or comments, whatever you want to. I'm trying to get all their comments read. Anything we haven't covered on the Pit, Kane?
No, I think we've pretty well covered everything that there is to cover at the moment for the Pit.
Bottom line, if you've missed our review of the Pit, I think me and Kane both liked it. I think we both gave it a pretty good grade. I'm not speaking for you. I'll let you speak for yourself, Kane. I'm going to give it. If we do it on a grade to 100, I'm going to give it about an 80. Is that a B or a C? That's a C in my day, but I think it's a B in today's day.
It's a B.
It's a low B.
I'd give it a B.
Low B. I think they need to add lore, a little bit more questing and story. I think they can do it in this model and still keep it replayable. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I'm fine with it. But add a little bit of what we want too. You can add a little bit more story and lore to this. Bethesda, are you listening? Add a little bit more story. That's me. That's how they could bump it up to a B+ or an A in my book.
Yeah, I put out a video about my thoughts on 76 recently, so I'm not going to get into that. I was pretty salty in that.
I'm going to have to go watch that now. Y'all go watch him being salty. I don't know if I've heard you. Yeah, I've heard you salty before. Kentucky Ranger says, unfortunately, when Starfield comes out, I'll have to play it on PC because they pulled PlayStation support for it.
PC's the place to play it anyway.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, Starfield looks awesome. Jeremy says, with random secret cryptids, encounters, and fights that takes a group to kill, it will keep people around. Yep. Remember how fun 76 was back when hundreds of thousands of people played? It's still fun to me. I still enjoy it. I'm going to tell you what I do. Again, maybe it's just me. I change up how I play. I don't do it the same way every time. I've got 2 or 3 characters that I play with. I've got one that's real low. I've got my high character, and I've got a mid-range character. I'll play on my private server with my big character for a while so I can use my legacy weapons and not bother anybody. Then I'll play on the public servers with my low character. And it's a totally different experience. It really is. So just change around how you're playing. And some weeks I'll play all just with my low character. I have a character that is just a heavy guns build. Then I have a character that's just a shotgun build. And then, of course, all my other ones are rifle builds. But just changing from a different kind of build will give you a different experience in the game. If you're doing the same things all the time, anybody's going to get tired of the game. But it just gives it new life to me. Garrett says, yes, BGS Austin started off as a really promising studio, and then things just got going with Starfield, and basically the wheels fell off. Garrett. I'm trying to read through, see if there's anything. Mr. Lewis says, I think it's funny that Rust is everything I wanted in 76. Flake says, Austin was reinforced by every other BGS studio when they were doing Wastelanders. See, I thought they did a great job on Wastelanders too. Very, very good expansion. Huge expansion. Think about how big Wastelanders is. There's my Mississippi Queen. That's a B and not good. It's a low B. It's a low B. Rick James Ganton now says the Pit is good. It checks the box of what people ask for. New content, new items, new plans. I give it. Psycho, long live the Queen. All right, final thoughts, Kane. We're getting down to the last of the bear tail.
Final thoughts. I think if you like the repeatable content, Pit is definitely a good thing for you to go do. I like it. It's fun. So definitely worth playing. As far as like new content that's coming, I think they plan on putting new area bosses in each area. So I think obviously the first one that's coming, the new one that's coming anyway, is going to be the mole rat one. But I would expect them to continue that trend as well, just to make things more repeatable, because that's really what they're looking for at this point, is repeatable content. So I think that's the future at this juncture.
My wife says that I would stroke if I got a B and she'd celebrate if she got a B. That's funny. I've got one more thing to say about the White Spring and the responders. I really hope they do this. I loved how Bethesda, remember the Metal Dome? Y'all know the Metal Dome where we do Test Your Metal, where you fight the robots. That's a new event. Remember how they made that? What they did was they did it in stages. You found it, and it was a stadium that was under construction. I don't know if all of y'all saw it, but it actually took 3 or 4 updates for it to become an enclosed dome. It was really cool how they did it. So it was a process. What I'm wondering by saying that, do you think they're going to let the responders at the White Spring evolve? Will they change? I hope so. Will they change the interior? Will they change what's going on inside the White Spring with each mission and let it evolve? I think they will. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, they did mention a lot of the extra space that's still in there as room to expand.
I love that. Yes.
I think they already plan on doing that.
Do you think we might get to open some of those doors?
I think we might be able to, and I think they might actually open up some other floors.
Wow, that would be awesome. Okay, again, Bethesda, I want to learn more about the responders. I want to know why. One thing I haven't found, quick question for you, Kane. Have you figured out or found in the in reading where all these people came from? I've looked on the computers and talked to people there at the White Spring. I haven't gotten a chance to go through like all the individual pieces of lore yet, so I'm probably gonna have to piece that one together, but I don't know just yet. Yeah, that's the next thing I'm gonna do, is just hang out at the White Spring for hours talking to people. Hey, there's Nukem. What's going on, Nukem? Well, guys, thank y'all for spending a little bit of your Saturday right here. I hope you enjoyed talking about the Pit and the KingCast. I hope you got something out of it. I just appreciate hanging out with you guys. Kane, thank you for being on the KingCast. If you guys have not subscribed to Kane yet, please do it. You will not be sorry. His link is right there in the pinned comment in the chat. Please go subscribe to him right now. Kane, will you join me again sometime?
Absolutely, and thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You have a great rest of your Saturday, Kane. And everybody else, y'all have a great rest of your evening. And God bless y'all. Good night, everybody.
Night, guys.